What up, guys? We are finally live an hour later than I wanted to be because my wonderful work got in the way, but we got that taken care of. Now on to this stuff. So one, please share this out, get this out because we're gonna go over some things. We got some stuff that no one's talking about with these Epstein files. Everybody is saying everything is redacted. There's a lot of things that are redacted, but there's a lot of things that people are not covering and talking about, as in comparing the last Epstein drop to this one. For example, a bunch of the stuff that's redacted, like spoiler alert, I'm telling you right now, a bunch of the stuff that's redacted in release today wasn't redacted in the first release. So I can show you what was redacted and what information it was on some of the stuff with the Rolodex and the contact information that we see in the end of the document. So I got questions, Pam Bondi. I got questions, Cash Patel. Why in the hell are we redacting more information now than what we redacted when we first released the Epstein files, the first set? And when did we do that? Hang on, let me go look at those documents. I have them on my computer. Those were dropped. Let's see. Why does that have so January 2024 is when I have those on my machine. So a year ago, we didn't redact some of the information that we redacted today. Why is that? That's weird. So we're going to be going over that stuff. We're going to be talking about there's a guy named Mark Middleton. Seems like he was Hillaried in this. So we're going to be going over some of these things. Hey, Dave. Long time no see, man. How are you doing? But thanks, everybody. Share this out while you're here. We're going to go through this stuff. Let me actually get this and share this out a couple ways while you guys are all in here. Share in here. Throw in some comments and let me know where you're watching from. Let's see that while I get this shared out. Sorry, guys. I'm just sharing this out. When it's only me, it gets tough. But we'll get it done. Couch. Yeah, of course you're sitting on the couch. Free. Can we get you off the couch? Let me share my screen also so I can show you guys. I really have the whole document pulled up over here. It's 224 pages. We're not going to scroll through and go through every page. I took a bunch of notes that we're going to be able to go through, and we'll be able to jump through this a little bit faster. Hell no, I won't go. What up, guys? I'm glad you guys are all here. Holding an AA space later with free. AA is in Alcoholics Anonymous with free? Really? Free attracts people like that. So we're going to have the same stuff we talked about last night. We're going to talk about Texas. Is that what it is? You guys missed out on a great space last night with free. He brings out the crazies and it becomes fun. It becomes a lot of fun. But we're going to get into this. So share this out. We're going to run with it. I'm glad I could predict that. That's awesome, Andy. Welcome, Sarah, Dolly. So with these Epstein files, let me get my notes back up to where I can see them. Bear with me a second. All right, notes here. I got to message actually a couple people and let them know I am live. I forgot about that. So let me also do that. OB's here. Creole Queen's here. Thank you. My spaces are the transient. Dude, your spaces are nuts. Your spaces are nuts. One more space, one more message, guys. Where did it go? Where did it go? There he is. Hey, OB, glad you're here. My comments are in order. This is cool. This is quite nice. I don't know what we're gonna do. If things are gonna be working for this, like, dang. The Academy Awards for PDFs. Yes. Well, don't get too surprised by this. Like, guys, this is where things are going to be interesting. There's a lot of redactions. There's a lot of stuff. The first page, of course, is Pam Bondi's garbage with the state of New York FBI. I'm not worried about that. So let's talk about that first. That first letter from Pam Bondi. Let me rotate this back around again. So Pam Bondi's letter here. This is calling out that the New York FBI is not releasing files to the Department of Justice and turning it over to Pam Bondi's team. So they have until 8 a.m. tomorrow to be able to turn this over. And everybody's up in arms about this over New York. I need to remind you, what do we know about New York? What did we learn about New York over the last couple of years? We have learned about New York over the last couple of years that they are corrupt. They don't follow any normal process within our country that they should. So why are you surprised that New York is not complying? Why is everybody up in arms and mad about it? Because you can't be surprised. We've done this for years. And that is where we are at, this entire state of New York. They're a problem. So yes, we should be calling out the garbage. We should be calling them out and say this is unacceptable. But Kash has already addressed it. Kash Patel is like, hey, we're getting into this stuff. We're going to be able to handle it. And that's what I would expect. And so when it comes down to the New York stuff, it's cool. Vocalize it. Make sure that it's known. But I'm seeing people lose their minds over this. And that you can't be doing that. You can't be doing that. And so when it comes down to this whole thing, I'm not surprised, New York. I bet you they do reply in the morning. We're going to find out at 8 o'clock tomorrow. Follow me on X. You know I'm going to be posting that tomorrow at 8 o'clock when it goes live, if we have anything. But one of the things I wanted to talk about is in this. What did they call this? Is this the evidence? Hang on. Bear with me 1 second, guys. I lost some of my links. And so I want to go pull up the link that I have from Pam Bondi releasing the files. They released them in groupings, in different groups, which is great. And that's what I want to pull up. So bear with me a second here. Link. All right. They grouped this evidence list. So that's right. They called this the evidence list. There is one of the items in here, right here. We are going to zoom in. And I'm going to point this out to you guys right now, and we're going to talk about it later. This big long line right here. One heat sealed bag containing one yellow envelope marked SK. SK is a common name in all of the flight logs throughout this entire document. SK is in here a lot. I believe SK, we don't know who SK specifically is or confirmed, but I do believe we probably know who SK is. SK traveled a lot with Jeffrey Epstein and with Ghislaine Maxwell, and I'm going to mess up her name multiple times on this live, guys. I'm going to warn you right now. I'm going to mess it up, and we're going to go through it. But SK, pointing this out right now, that is one thing that, keep this in the back of your mind. I do think that this is Sarah Kellen. There's some people throwing around the idea that it's Stephen Koslin. Stephen Koslin is in the end of the document in the contact list. I don't think that's right. That doesn't kind of fit what Stephen Koslin would do. He's a professor from Harvard. So I wouldn't envision just a random professor from Harvard to be able to be carrying around a bunch of broken up bills that total $17,000. I would believe that would be more of an assistant of Epstein to be able to pay people to be able to come out of there. Oh, thanks, Free. Yeah, we're not doing that. Nope. I'll say GM because General Motors, they're all corrupt. It is what it is. But this one says one heat sealed bag containing one yellow envelope marked SK, dated, I believe that is March 27, 2008. That 3 for March is kind of hard to read, but containing multiple smaller envelopes containing $17,115, broken up in 252 $100 bills, 35 $50 bills, 4 $20 bills, 6 $10 bills, and 5 fives. This is where it gets a little interesting for me. And when we get down into the pages for SK, let me see where my notes are for her. Oh, I just put a lot. I didn't put the pages that she is. But first thing that stood out when I saw SK in the logs, I came back to the evidence list and SK is in here. So this is really interesting. I don't know exactly what it's telling us just yet, but hopefully we get more information. We really need to figure out who this SK person is. All right, let me zoom out. Let's move on to the next pages. Other evidence lists, guys, like there's all kinds of stuff in here. Cell phone containing 1 set of copper handcuffs and whip. Cellophane, not cell phone. 1 cellophane containing 1 set of copper handcuffs and whip. There's some other stuff that I can't talk about in here, but I'm sure you guys can read that and know what is involved with some of these items that are listed. So yeah, I don't need to be getting in trouble on some of our platforms, so I won't be saying those words. But definitely it's connecting the dots to some sort of sexual activity. 100% Creole Queen, 100%. That is one of the things that we do need to understand. Now we are very familiar with Sarah Kellen. Sarah Kellen, you can Google her name. It's known. Her name is known. And so it is an assumption that SK, from my side, that Sarah Kellen is SK. That's what I'm thinking. It's where I'm leaning. But as what Pam Bondi mentioned, we are going to see many phases of this. There's going to be a lot more documents. So hopefully we can start connecting more of those dots later. Let me look at my notes here. What in the world? Soren, all right. And where is that coming from? Hey, Kim. All right. One of the other things I also I mentioned already that I have a bunch of documents that are not redacted, that they redacted here. And we're going to go over some of those. But also to give you guys an idea, Wikispooks has all of them. Wikispooks has a lot of that stuff that was prior released in 2024. And you can see a lot of the same stuff, but we will go over that at near the end. We'll be touching on those things. But as we get into this, let me pull this back down real quick. I want us to talk a little bit about how things went today. That was originally where I wanted to start. Throw in the comments. Do you guys think that it was suspicious or just not managed well? What do you guys think on how this was managed today? Do you think it was suspicious to where we need to be questioning, was things removed, were things extra redacted, or was it just new? Like this is a new thing that they're not used to, so it was clunky. What was your gut feel on why this was so weirdly held today? I have a different perspective, and that's where I want to see where you guys are at, and then I'll share with what I think. Kelly says very suspicious. Sarah, I don't disagree with you. You know, we question everything. Just like Kim, we question everything. Very poorly handled and bad timing. That is actually where I am at, is poorly handled and bad timing. And I'll explain why. Sus, okay? Terry, Andy, I think Pam Bondi. Yeah. Pam Bondi is on a short list for me. I'm not a big fan of Pam Bondi, and I wasn't when she was picked. I think she's a decent choice. Some of you from Florida probably won't like this because I know some of you are not a big fan, but I would have rather had Matt Gaetz. But we'll see where this goes. I really think that I'm going to give Pam Bondi a little bit of slack here, but this was handled horribly. And in my opinion, it falls on her shoulders. She should be addressing why this was handled the way it was. Let me talk about the influencers real quick. The influencers that all were out at the Capitol, White House, whatever it is, when they were all out there, let me see if I can pull up some of the pictures. I want to show you guys the influencers. Let me stop sharing that screen, and I want to show you guys something that I noticed. Everybody keeps saying, actually, let's throw it to you guys in the comments. How many influencers, let's call them influencers, how many influencers do you guys think were there that got binders? Throw it in the comments. What is the number that you think were there that got binders? How many? Because that is one of the things that I don't think is really being represented correctly. Let me move this over and I will show you. I will show you. 15, 10, okay. Free. Don't even get me started on her. She's just mad because she wasn't picked. All of them? Not all of them. 15. Man, you guys are 3 to 7. No, I'll tell you that's a no. 10, maybe. I would say that's probably on the low side. Here's why I say this. And some of you will recognize this gentleman in the cowboy hat because he's been around with the Truth Will Set You Free crew for a while, Mr. Chad Prather. And I was shocked when I got home. I ran an errand today. I was shocked when I found out that he got there. And it was probably more along the lines that he took over from Graham Allen. And that's where he was chosen. But I don't know. I haven't heard back. I asked Russo to reach out to him to see what was going on. But seeing this picture, we have a total of 5 right here. You have 3 more in that back right. And I don't even see Savannah Hernandez in here. I feel like I'm missing a couple other names that are not in here in this picture. We are approaching approximately 15 or more people that were given these files. And for my understanding, they were not, this picture is outside. They were all given these binders. They were not given a heads up that they were going to be getting these files. They were there for a different reason. So everybody was trying to crucify them and chew out these people. Chad Prather said 15. Yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds about right. Because everybody online is like, oh, a few influencers. And they can't even say a number. They're just getting mad that there were some influencers that got there and they weren't chosen. And so they're getting all upset about it. And whatever. I don't care. There is, with these things, these guys did not know they were going there for that reason. See? Exactly. And this story has been said by multiple people. Multiple. They didn't know they were going to get this. And so all of you trying to crucify these accounts saying, oh, they are hiding this. They're going to be able to, they're doing this for money. All of the things, check yourself. That is absolutely ridiculous that you are jumping to those conclusions. You are not actually doing right by the people that you follow. And then when it comes down to this situation, I know everybody is getting all hyped and everybody is excited because we really want to see people go to jail. We do. I'm not getting hopes up there. I just want the documents. I just want the data, and then we can do whatever we want with it after that. People going to jail, I've lost faith that our government will ever lock up the prominent people that we want to see. So that's where I'm at. And so when it comes down to this entire situation, all of you that lost your mind today over these influencers that got these files, it was unnecessary. And I challenge you next time to be thinking about things in a little bit more of an open mind instead of let the internet drive you to where you're at that state of mind and you're not thinking clearly. Because all day today, how many people did you see reaching out to these individuals and saying, we're going to unfollow you. You're doing all the bad things. You're going to do this for monetization. Come on, guys. We're better than that. So that's where I'm starting with this, is because that was one of the things that was really annoying today. I thought the same thing. I'm not going to lie. I thought about it, that was probably what was going to happen. But we took a minute. We waited to hear from them. Like, as soon as Jack Posobiec got on his live television show and he's like, I had no idea what we were doing. I had no idea. I knew why I was going there, It wasn't for this. I knew that there was going to be a press conference later to talk about this. By the way, I don't think we ever got that press conference. Pam Bondi, what the F? But when it comes down to the documents, they were just surprised. So it's not their fault. And yeah, they were given this stuff. Why you would take advantage of the opportunity too and show this. But this photo segment, what Jack Posobiec said, this photo segment, they didn't even know they were going to be given this and media would be there to take pictures. They didn't know that. They were all caught off guard. All of them were caught off guard with these photos. And everybody on the internet is running around with it saying that these guys intentionally did this and they're going to milk this for their money. And if they do, they earned a status to where they can actually get these documents before I could. That's pretty cool. I wanted to see more of the government release the documents directly to the public at the same time these guys did. But that's where I'm saying we could have done better. Like right here, it was handled poorly. And I understand they didn't know, but they didn't have to pose for pictures with a binder. This is exactly what I'm telling you. She's passing judgment when they had no idea and it was all just done right there in front of media. You can follow all of them, go and look at their videos. They all tell you the same thing. It was not planned. This was not planned. Okay. Then that's what you think. That's your choice. I'm telling you right now, go watch their videos. They had no idea. Zero. This is where people, like, we need to do better on the internet. Absolutely need to do better. All right, we're going to move on. All right. So, dang it, wrong log notes. Let's see. Bear with me. Notes. Okay. The other thing that I also am pissed off about, and this is our government, guys. The House Judiciary. Gosh dang it. I can't even speak today. Judiciary. Have you guys seen what they posted when they first claimed the documents were released? Oh, don't tell me they deleted it. They did. Really? So the House Judiciary on X, they said, here's a link to the Epstein files. Someone's got to have this. Like, someone's got to have the link to it or the post. Let me see if I can find this for a second, guys. They literally posted a link saying, oh, here's your Epstein files. And then all they did is they linked you to a video for Rickroll. Huh? Okay. Well, let me see if I can find it here. Okay, here it is. I'm going to switch pages. Let me do this. Let's see. There we go. This is a tweet from Judiciary GOP. That link, that tiny URL /.com/Epstein Files V2, it plays a music video. This is not cool. You don't do this. I don't care who you are. This is about a very big situation about 250 plus victims that we know about. And you're going to just think that this is a joke coming from our government? Guys, I'm calling this out right now. This is part of Trump's administration that had some involvement in this. Donald Trump should be addressing this. Donald Trump should be addressing this. This is not cool. And so when people think, I understand having fun. You guys all know me. I have a sense of humor. I like cracking jokes. I like making fun of things. Absolutely. I'm all there. But when you do something like this, it's completely unacceptable and unprofessional. I expect more in this situation. We all know everybody on the internet is looking at this situation and they want these files because a lot of us want justice. A lot of us want people leaving in handcuffs. A lot of us want these people that are involved in prison. And then our government thinks that this is funny. Whoever did this should be fired. Not only fired, but we should be hearing from the administration how in the F this happened. But guess what? we're not going to hear anything because it's the government, guys. They don't care. And guess what? Some of us voted for this. And this thing is unacceptable. I'm not happy about it. Not happy about it at all. Let's see, what else was there? We already went over Pam Bondi's letter. Kash Patel, I talked about already, his post. He came out and was saying, you see the video Trump posted over Gaza? No, we're not talking about Gaza, and I don't care about that right now. We're talking about Epstein files. But when it comes down to this stuff, this is not okay. I think I got through all of my notes of what I wanted to start before we go through the Epstein files. So let me switch back screens here, and we're going to go over the files a little bit, show you what I found, and go through this a little bit more. Switch that, click share. There we go. So there is a lot of pages of just the flight logs. As Jack Posobiec mentioned earlier, and I tweeted about it earlier, when it comes down to these logs, it's kind of tough. There are some names mentioned in here. There is Bill Clinton mentioned. There is Donald Trump mentioned. We'll get to that. There is somebody called Mark Middleton that is mentioned that we're going to touch on. The part that I wanted to highlight before we got too far into it, I don't know what I should have noted. What first page? These first few pages are hard to read. Oh, right here. Here's one. That's exactly what I wanted. It won't highlight well. So let me zoom in. So you see here, one PAX, PAX. PAX stands for passenger. You're going to find that a lot in here. The other thing in these flight logs that you're going to find that some people are just ignoring because it's not a name, it's common. We're going to find one male, one female, two females, or one PAX, or two PAX, four PAX. So we don't get names. Like even up here, there's a 2+ PAX. We're not getting names with some of these. And I think I notice a trend, not in every line item, but in some. Every time there's a weird name, it involved Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And that is where this stuff came out. Then why are you here? I'll ask you that right now. Then why are you here? This is where I find it interesting, and we got to start correlating some of this stuff, but then looking at the contacts, we have the contacts. I find it weird that we redacted some of this information. And this is where there's going to probably be a version 2, another 2 episode of this that I'll go over. I'm going to start comparing the original drop, what we had last year, to this one, because we do have more redactions now than we did back then. And I know I said that before, but that's where I'm starting to connect some of these dots of these files. Some of these are just not readable. Like this last page, awful. This one. And not an airport, just saying. When it comes down to, let me see, my first page, Senator George Mitchell on 31. Let's go through that. Yeah, I'm on 31. So we are talking about, wait a minute. My notes say, I don't see the senator mentioned. I see Mark Middleton, and we'll talk about him in just a minute. We will talk about Mark Middleton in just a minute. Am I missing a name in here? I must have noted the wrong page on that one, but we'll jump into the Donald Trump stuff because that's where we're at on page 31. So that tells me it was up here. Hang on one sec, guys. We're going to go back real quick. Those pages are awful. Yeah. All right. We're going to skip that. I don't know, Creole Queen. I'm not putting up with people's BS today. I'm so sick of the internet and what people are saying because clearly some people already know all of this. Then why are you watching? Move on. If you already know everything, go do your own shit. But with the Donald Trump ones, I wanted to touch on this. So everybody on the left tries to connect Donald Trump with Epstein because they were both billionaires, they hung out with the same groups, all of those things. And the part that we have to realize, Donald Trump banned Jeffrey Epstein from Mar-a-Lago in, I believe it was 2007. 2007. And so that tells you there was something that he wasn't fond of, or something that happened with them. And I wish we had some context, but it sounds like Donald Trump's not going to release that information, and that's okay. And we don't need it. But Donald Trump here, he went from Palm Beach to Washington, D.C., D.C. to Jersey. And so whatever, what that is not a big deal. They flew on the same flight together. Doesn't mean anything. He used Epstein's plane. That's all it was. The date is back in May. I believe that's May. It's kind of weird, but May 1994. One of the things that's horrible in this entire document is all the handwriting. It is awful. It's like if I wrote it. There's some other names in here that I need to figure out what's going on. But while we're right here, let's talk about this individual, Mark Middleton. Mark Middleton is a he worked with the Clinton administration, and he was found shot with a shotgun, shot to the chest, I believe. Why I hate ads. I hate ads. A shotgun was discovered near the body of the former Clinton aide with links to Jeffrey Epstein, who died by suicide. And that was on May 2022. So Mark Middleton, if you know anything about the Clintons, do you guys believe that this was suicide? Because I don't. Anybody that's connected with the Clintons, no. And this was in 2022. So this was just recent that this guy was wiped out. I suspect there was something in there. And the reason why I say that is Mark Middleton's name is in here a lot. Like, here's another one right here. And if we were just to scroll through these flight logs, you'll see his name a lot in this, into all of the flight logs all the way up into the 2000s. Mark Middleton is named in here a lot. I talked a little bit about how you see male, one female quite a bit in the flight logs. We have one male right here. Again here, one male. Not sure what that means. I only can assume bad things. But it is interesting that, yeah, Mark Middleton ran in this group and somehow died by suicide. I don't find that as a coincidence one bit. Didn't they find the gun too far from his body? That I've seen both reported. Some said it was close and some said it was far away. So I don't know. I don't even remember this from 2 years ago. So I didn't cover this back then. But they, like this one, I think, yeah, they said discovered near the body. Which, we're talking about a connection with the Clintons. I don't believe it. This is a fact, Tim. You 100% fact. Must have had a really short barrel. 100%. And this is what I think happened. Absolutely. Yeah. I trust the Clintons slightly less than I trust the government. Yeah, I agree with you. Hey, welcome, Audrey. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. Let's get back into the documents here. My other notes. Let's see, what do I got? One male, two females. So on page 36, we got it listing with two females. So notice the one male. Let's go to those one males. Just to point out the correlation that I was telling you. Every time we saw one male, one female, or whatever like that, it wasn't specific with a name. It always followed with, and I'm going to zoom in here so we can go through this together, J.E. and G.M. J.E., Jeffrey Epstein, G.M., Ghislaine Maxwell. So there was there's a correlation here. I got to go through one by one and figure it out. I was planning to do all of this and have this ready for you guys to be able to tell you more specifics. So that's why there's going to be a round 2 also to dive through and compare what we had into 2024 to now. But let me go through here. So here's actually going a little bit of that. Ghislaine Maxwell is not mentioned on these when they say one female, but it does happen majority of the time with both of those. Love you too, Audrey. Let's go through. Let's see. My next note, Mark Middleton, we touched on. Senator George Mitchell, we already knew that from the last drop. That's not a surprise. Everybody saw that and was like, "Oh, that's our first politician." Yeah, it's not a shocker. We knew it. We knew that name already. So it's in here. The page 43, we're going to jump to that real quick for something because someone, I don't believe this, but right here, so we have Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, Gwendolyn Beck, I think is what that is. Gwendolyn Beck. And then this name is weird. Chuck Schumer. Some people think that's Chuck Schumer. If you go back through some of the old stuff, the old files, there's a Chuck Schumer with an I, Schumi. And I think that's what is intended to be written. Well, it was intended to be written. They just probably didn't spell it right. Not sure. But Chuck Schumer versus Schumer, it can happen. Was Chuck Schumer on here? I don't know. This one is going from Palm Beach to Jersey. So PBI to TEB. And so with all of that, I'm not going to say that's Chuck Schumer, but some people are claiming it. And that's fine. You can claim whatever you want. It is what it is. But let's jump to page 95. 95 is probably the most well spelled out page of names in here. And it gets weird because, again, like we talked about SK, here's SK right here at the top. And Ghislaine Maxwell. And we got 2 females right there. I think with this, we got to go through the names, figure out what we're talking about. Handwriting's really difficult to read on this page. So it's a really, really tough, but we got David Rockwell, it looks like. Carolyn Giller. So stuff that we'll need to dive in deeper and go down these rabbit holes and see if any of these names make sense. Also to compare, do we already have these pages that was dropped back in 2024? Let me move that over here, guys, and show you guys real quick. So you guys can see, I have all of the documents from Epstein docs back from January 2024. Come into Epstein docs. We got more here that were dropped, more here that was dropped. So I'm going to go through and compare all of these. Like 2025 is what was dropped today. So we'll be going through this stuff. This was me making an edit to a document. So don't be getting caught up on that. But when it comes down to these documents, we got to do a direct comparison. And I'm going to do that. And we're going to find out. Look at this name right here, guys. Bill Clinton. What's interesting also to point out, like this page, let's see, when was this? 2002. So it just says Bill Clinton. But if we were to go back up, a couple of the other flight logs said President Bill Clinton, which it was just after his presidential term when I looked up the date. Let me see if I can find it real quick and I'll show you guys. So Bill Clinton is referred to as Bill Clinton in here, sometimes William J. Clinton. And so if you guys were running this through any OCR, trying to search for a certain name or anything like that. Yeah, Slick Willie. Yeah, he can have that nickname. And that's crazy. But yeah, he was referred by a few different names in here. I don't know if that was intentional, different pilots. I'm not sure. Of course, we can bring all suspicion that it may have been done intentionally so it doesn't get caught like that. But this is a long time ago to think that some of that stuff would get caught. over 20 years ago. Let me see here. Let me go back to my notes, guys. My notes. Oh, 99. Let's go to 99. I think 99 is where it says President Bill Clinton. Let's see. Yeah, right here. President Bill Clinton. I'll zoom in, guys, so you guys can see that and we can confirm. It's hard to read, but I read on this line right here that is highlighted. I read President Bill Clinton. Oh, and in the line above, President Clinton. So he's referred to in here a few different times. Thankfully, if you were to do OCR, just search for Clinton. I already am trying to run this through OCR to try to get better ideas of what names are in here because the handwriting sucks. It's like mine. 8 Secret Service. Oh, yeah, good catch. 8 Secret Service people were on that flight. LPA2? What's LPA2? Where is that? Let's look that up. LPA2. Airport. LPA2 apparently means something about colon cancer. Grand Carnia Airport? No way that's right. That doesn't look right. Where is LPA2? Anybody know what LPA2 is? Oh, it is. Grand Carnia Airport. LPA is the main one, and then there's probably a second one. Okay. That's probably what it is. And they're going to JFK. GMME to LPA2 and then LPA2 back in 2002. Looks like July 2002. So after Bill Clinton was done, served his term as president. Go back in my notes here and pull that stuff up. Bear with me a second, guys. All right, so with SK is the biggest note that I have in here that we need an answer on, and that's what I'm going to be looking for in the other documents. But SK, I do not believe is Stephen Kosslyn. That is in the contacts, which is down here. We're almost to that section. I think it's like 104 or something. Contact book. Yeah, we're getting there. I want to get to the contact book because there are some things that were interesting that I wanted to point out. By the way, this notice how we were scrolling. I didn't take note of this. I meant to. On page 110, we are seeing redactions now on these flight logs. We didn't have anything redacted prior on the flight logs. They were all okay. These are getting to more recent dates of 2023. But I want to go back and compare the flight logs that we got are the redactions missing? And we're going to get into that. And that's one of the things why I wanted to go over the contact book is show you guys the redactions of what was done today with this release versus what we already know. That's the other thing that a lot of people haven't done yet is compare the prior stuff. Let me see what this file is. Bear with me a second. And then we're going to just jump into the redactions and show you some of the changes so you guys can see this. And then we're going to have to dive through it. And we're probably not going to go through all of it tonight. But I want to show you. Make that go away. That go away. I just wanted, dang it. Didn't want that to open there. Hang on, guys. There we go. So on page 217, let's do this, do that, and then we want that. So this is page 217 and what was released today. So let's get there. And the reason why I want to show you guys this is so you guys can see I'm not lying. This administration, oh, dang it, I can't do it side by side. So I'm going to show you the whole page. Notice we got redactions off to the right of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell's phone numbers. Why is that redacted now? Weird. Tim Newcomb. He is their Citrix systems programmer. So they must have used Citrix for a bunch of the infrastructure and stuff like that on the island. And when I say infrastructure, we're talking about computer equipment. Citrix is, for the lack of a better term, for layman's terms, let's just call it like a way to remote into other devices and use them. It's a little bit more complicated than that and used in a business sense. And then all of a sudden on the side over here, they marked out, and just to compare, I'll show you. All they marked out is email addresses and phone numbers. So we know we have this entire page visible from what was released before. Why was it redacted now? I don't understand. If it was already released, plain and clear, why did they redact it already? I would like to understand more detail, because it doesn't make any sense to me. Did they not know these files were released? Did they not look at the prior drops to understand what was released? But all of a sudden, now we have things redacted. One of the things to point out here, important witness is next to Christopher, I don't know, Christophe, French driver, Jot Aviation. Important witness to what? Because look, oh no, important witness wasn't what redacted. I thought that was too. But no, you can see it's mostly just contact information that was blocked out. But we released it already. So what's the deal? I don't understand. I don't want to work for the government. No. I'm not doing it, Audrey. Not doing it. But when it comes down to these things, this is the type of stuff where I want to look at. And you guys know me. I want the details. I want to be able to show you guys some of the stuff that other people are not noticing. I know a lot of people are doing spaces right now and just going through every single page in this document, all 224 pages. But it is much more important to actually go through and compare to what we already have and try to understand the differences. One of the things that I want to show you guys also is this. This is from WikiSpooks. WikiSpooks put together this showing the different number of flights that names were on. So, for example, Jeffrey Epstein, 832, Ghislaine Maxwell, 400. So we have different names like that. Bill Clinton is on 25. I bet we're going to find more than that. Excuse me. Long day. Notice we don't have an SK in here. Well, we have Sarah Kellen, the name that I'm suspicious about, but we don't really have another one. But we do have another SK in the contact book. And so it brings up some interesting stances, because I really think Sarah Kellen was Ghislaine Maxwell's like right-hand person. They traveled together a lot throughout this document. And knowing that they both traveled about the same amount of times on this plane makes me really believe that. I want to be a techie like you. I will tell you it's not worth it. Don't do it. You just end up working a lot. Wondering if phone numbers have been refurbished, meaning those individuals no longer have them and they now belong to individuals that have nothing to do with the case. That's possible. Then why the one pushback I give you on that one is then why the email addresses? Let's go back to that real quick. I'll go back to that screen. So all masseuses, by the way, redacted, and that's expected. They're going to be the victims because they weren't masseusing, to be honest. But right here is a whole bunch of email addresses. Let me pull that back up and I'll show you. See, addresses. We got the state. When I don't know what those mean on the side. It looks like abbreviations of location. I don't know, but they're just email addresses. So Donald Trump's name is on page 31. We already went over that. You can go back and see it. Let's see. What else did I have? I was going to pull up actually for you guys to show you more of the pages. We were going to do that together. That's what I was going to do, is pull up EpsteinBlackBook.com is where they posted a lot of the masseusing. Yes. We know that is not what happened. But EpsteinBlackBook.com is where we can find a lot of pages that were not redacted, that were redacted today. So here's the contact book. Let me rotate get to that page. Let's just rotate now. Right here. So this is the beginning of the contact book at page 123. Let me see if I'm missing any comments up at the top. Oh, it looks like I am. Hey guys, sorry. I see you, buddy. Glad you're here. Sorry, I had to scroll up. X's comments don't all come in. 2023 redactions. I don't know what that one is. I must have missed that a little bit ago. Prime Minister of Israel, Mr. Barack, as in Obama. Tell me where you were seeing that. We can go back to that. I'm down to go down that rabbit hole. But in the context, the thing that I thought was interesting in here, let me find it. It was, Flavio. There's some people that are circled in here, and I don't know why. There's just some of them that are circled. There's a lot of names. Now, keep in mind, this is like a Rolodex. This is a whole bunch of contact information. And then you get down into some categories. Like we come down here a little bit. Did I take note of what page? Let me see if I took note what page that was on. Nope, I didn't. But we're close to where I want to jump to. But we're going to scroll real quick and see. Duchess of York, all of the stuff. So there's big names in here, but this doesn't mean anything because this is just a contact book. And said previous prime minister. Oh, well, I believe we did have one in the prior drops. Like that's what I meant to go over today, but I couldn't compare all of this stuff in time. And still wanted to do this show tonight. Yes, please, everybody, freeze comments, share this out. And we're going to keep going over this. We're not going to spend many hours going through this, but I want to show you guys some of the differences that make it worth your time, that you're seeing something different than what the average Joes are going over with us, because most of them didn't go through the Epstein documents last year. As I showed you, I have them. I have all of the Epstein drops from before, which was also very frustrating today. Everybody kept sharing the link to the old Epstein documents that were already dropped, saying, oh, they're here, when no, they weren't. That was like a trigger for me today. Trigger. Let's jump to page 173. There's a name you guys are going to recognize, a last name at least, on page 173. Peter Soros. Do you guys know who Peter Soros is? Throw it in the comments. Do you guys know who Peter Soros is? Of course, you can obviously guess by the last name, but give me a relation. Do you know who that is? And I'm going to open my beer. Bear with me 1 second. George's son. Okay. Let's see if we got anybody else that knows. Anybody else in the comments? George's eldest son is from. Where did that comment? I see your comment, Zach. I just don't see it. Click on it. So who it is? It is George Soros's nephew, which I thought was weird. George Soros's oldest nephew. And so it is I believe his brother's oldest son. I would expect it would be somebody else, but this really shows when it comes down to this whole thing. Wait a minute. Someone just said MSM, Chelsea's husband. When you say that, Chelsea's husband, are you meaning Chelsea Clinton? Hang on. Let's go down this rabbit hole. I want to know. Chelsea Peter Soros. Chelsea Clinton is married to George Soros's nephew. Yeah. So you are right. Well done. Well done. Oh, wait a minute. Snopes is saying no. Hang on. Furthermore, it was unclear. Paul Soros, who fathered the two children, Peter and Jeffrey. So yeah, it's Paul Soros's oldest son. Therefore, George Soros has two nephews, Peter Soros, Jeffrey Soros. Here, let's just go through this together, and I'm not just reading it to you. While this rumor has been circulating for years, it is untrue now, as it always was. Chelsea Clinton and Mark Mizvinsky were married. So yeah, apparently they were not married together, but it is a rumor on that. But it's Snopes. I'm not going to say that this is 100% accurate because usually you got to come in here and you read it and then you can find some stuff. But I wouldn't put it past them that there was some shenanigans there. Absolutely not. And yeah, there you go. See, there you go. But when it comes down to the Soros family, the reason why I bring this up with Peter Soros, a lot of stuff goes on with the Soros family, and a lot of stuff that goes on with George Soros's brother usually gets overlooked by quite a bit. And so by Peter Soros being in this contact book, but you don't have anybody else, you don't have, what is it, Alex Soros? Is it Alex that is George Soros's son? Alexander Soros, exactly. So why isn't he in here? Why isn't Gregory Soros in here? Why is George Soros not in here? We have Peter Soros? That's a little weird. Oh, no, thank you. No, thank you. I would opt out of that one. You wouldn't, nope. I wouldn't opt out of it. No way. Yes. Both of his parents were members of Congress. Yeah. But why just Peter Soros? That math is not mathing to me. And by the way, notice how they're circled or squared, whatever you want to call it. I assume this one is connected with this one. And so it is interesting. I would like to understand that more. So we'll be going through that in future. Maybe we can start connecting some dots with the Soros family with this whole thing, which would be awesome. It'd be really awesome. Trump. Let's come back up here. Ivana, Blaine and Robert Trump. Blaine and Robert Trump. No Donald Trump. Yeah. No Trump Jr. Just Ivanka. That is interesting. Notice they're not circled either. So when it comes down to these, are these original drops circled? Yes. Yes, they are. This is not circled after the fact when these were scanned in. Correct. What else? Let me pull up my notes here. Next notes. Okay. Something like that. Something like that. All right, let's go over this real quick. I want to do some stuff on Epstein's Black Book and show you guys some of this stuff. Let's go through this together. Should we search Peter Soros? Let's see if we get any pages that are not redacted. Really? All right, fine. Page 51. So if we go Peter Soros, hey guys, look at this. Why is this page unredacted? Not redacted, but today it's released and redacted. We have all of Peter Soros's contact information here. These are the question marks that I don't understand, and I would really like to have some answers. If we release these documents already, why did we release them on completely open, and then today in 2025 we're redacting them? It just doesn't make any sense. These are all of the names that are in this document, contact list, and in the flight logs that we could at least read, I would assume, because you can't really read all of that. This is why I'm asking the questions, and Zach and you guys are kind of onto it. I want to say that we're doing this really well, and we're doing these things to make sure we're doing the right thing for the public and release it all. But did we not understand what we already released? There's no point in redacting something if you released it last year already. And Terry, I get your question, but it still doesn't answer my question. Like, why are they redacting it now when they didn't before? Because the document's already out there. It's already out there. And I bet you I probably posted it, well, on X on my old account when I had it. But I have a whole Epstein files thread on Facebook that I did with the last drop. Let me see what is the other names. Let's look up Mark Middleton. So we talked about Mark Middleton earlier, and so we have Mark Middleton in here, right here on the bottom left, Little Rock, Arkansas, but it was all redacted. But we have everything in the contact pages that is not redacted that was already released. And so that part, I still am trying to piece it all together and understand that. And hopefully we get some more clues. But I'm also questioning now what the other phases of the Epstein files are going to look like. Are they going to be redacted even more? And this entire thing, oh, thank you. This entire thing is starting to give me a lot of reasons to question, are we doing the right thing? Are we actually releasing this information? 100% agree, Danny. I 100% agree with you. But the part that we got to figure out, though, who is manipulating this information when it's coming out? Because none of this is adding up. And do we get less info with each phase? Possibly. That's a good question, because that's where I'm questioning these redactions. Like, why were they redacted? Normally when you redact things, you have a redaction code with them that will usually say like a code, and it will indicate it's in a current investigation or court or different reasons for redaction. I don't see that in here. I don't see a redaction code. That's the other thing that I have a question mark on. There's always redaction codes. Is it redaction code? Why do I feel like that's not the right word? Redaction code? No, redaction codes. Yeah, and some of you guys that have been around for a long time, like Rose and a few of you in the comments, Audrey, you guys would know Lucas Thompson. He's been around with us and with the Primetime Patriots back in the day. He taught us about the redaction codes. We did a whole show on it and talked about redaction codes. And here we are. We're redacting information from these documents and not providing the redaction code, which is the reason for redaction. Now I got a million questions. Why did we redact this information when we didn't prior? That's the number one question, guys. I think we need to be posing that to everybody. I don't think we're going to get the answer, but we should get that answer. It should be given to us. Trying to find some of the comments. I see this refreshing, and so they're really out of order now. Whoops. Let me look here, guys. Still doesn't make sense for it to just be because of ongoing investigation. Makes me wonder, okay. Only if they didn't pay attention to what they already did, which wouldn't surprise me one bit. Yeah. Oh, here we go. There's the comment. I agree, Terry. They didn't pay attention. They didn't look into this. They knew this a long time ago. They knew about these files that were dropped last year because we already did that. We already did it. But we're talking about the government here. The government is useless. They can't do things right. And this is a perfect example of it. This entire fiasco today. And to coming back on how this all went down, I'm fine with giving it to the influencers and having them be the first hands-on with it. And that's fine with me. I just need to actually get the files directly from the government, not those influencers, because I don't want them to change anything and release it. Not that they would, but they could. I need the raw files from the government. And so Pam Bondi finally released it much later today in a different format than what most of these people got this out on by scanning through all of these and just getting them out. But why all of the redactions? Why? With no redaction codes. You remember that, Rose? Good. Carissa, you remember that? Cool. Yeah, Lucas is a genius, and he knows all about the courts and a lot of these documents, and so it was a good show we did to kind of go over those things and show you how to read these documents. But at the bottom here, just to kind of show you and go through this a little bit more, we're going on just over an hour here. Oh, you were on the other. That's what happens with YouTube. Like, I have my YouTube on there, but yeah. Massages in Florida. So that's one of the other things I wanted to point out in the contact book is there were categories. Like right here, massage Florida. You have Ghislaine Maxwell. Actually, hang on, guys. What? This is the contact book. We might have this in here. Go back home. Let's look up Ghislaine Maxwell. Dang it. And whoever wrote that site needs to fix that. Ghislaine Maxwell. So this is page, okay, listed on page 67. Dang it, that's not what I want. Hang on. 60 page. America. I want this page that has the massages in Florida. That's what I want. Hang on. Bill. Marna. That is another name on the same page. Ah, dang it. Look what I did. There we go. Again, redacted. Heavily redacted today versus back then. Look at all of these names. These are all names and then redacted. This one I could actually understand. Shut up, Danny. There is a lot in there, and I'm not going to go over all of those things because this one I could justify being redacted for a reason. But it also comes back to showing, guys, there's something into this. We got to understand why they redacted more now than they did back then. I don't know why they did that. Yeah, well, I just did it, and I can show you real quick. See, it's heavily redacted compared to this one. Let me go like this. Show you that we are on the same page. You got Alan Stopek, Police PB. You got Mike Pizzulo. You got Vet down here. So this can tell you I'm on the same page. I'm just blocking. I just ruined it, but I was blocking the masseuses because I don't want to put that stuff out there. I don't think that's appropriate, even though it was already done. We know what those people were doing with those, whoever they were. And I don't want to be putting that information out there, but you guys can go look it up and do what you want with it. I just don't want to be blasting it on this. Oh, let's see. Oh, I see your comment, J Riv. Let me go back up here. Yeah, I agree with you. Let me pull this down real quick on sharing, get rid of that ugly view. Let me go back. I have someone asking, no Bill Gates? Let's do this. I have not seen Bill Gates in the document, but let's look at Bill Gates for other things in this black book. See if we have that. Resharing, guys. Let's go back up. Actually, we'll just shortcut. So, no, let's just go with Gates. No Gates. No Gates, unless he has a nickname. Which I wouldn't put it past some of the very predominant people. I would expect that. But let's go back up here real quick and show you guys some of the other categories that we saw. Look at this. Cleaners, witness. Should we pull? Oh, I'm not sharing the right page, guys. You're not yelling at me telling me I'm not sharing. I was sharing the black book site. Let me flip back here. Here we go. Nickname Microsoft. Yeah, Bill Gates, I suspect he had some involvement. He's a creep. He's a weirdo. But let's look at this here. Christophe Gay, Gaie, however you want to say that. Witness, cleaners, witness is what's listed on this document. So here's what we're going to look up. Let's go ahead and look up Epstein, not Epstein. Let's look up Dr. Steve Victor. We're going to look that up on the Black Book and get this page that is redacted. No. Victoria Watson. No. Steve Victor. Boom. So here's the redacted page, guys. Notice witness. Look at all of the redactions. Cleaners, witness, circled. Come here, circled. Cleaners is not redacted. This one that has witness on it too, not redacted. Why? I know I keep posing this question for you guys, but this is the type of stuff that causes all kinds of problems that we got to understand. Is the government telling us the real information? I want to know in the comments now that we've gone over this multiple times, that there are documents that were released unredacted. All of a sudden today, they're redacted very heavily. Why? Do you guys think that the government is doing this maliciously? Throw a 1 in the comments if you think it's malicious. Throw a 2 in the comments if it's for other reasons. Because I am starting to have the question of, is this malicious? I think it might be. There's no reason for all of this to be redacted the way it is if it was already released. I don't get it. Let me see in the comments here. We got 1. No one? Oh, some of them are coming in. I see Chris has got a 1. Maybe they're investigating the people redacted. That's possible, Andy. That's very well possible. I have a hard time with the entire contact book and contact information to be redacted when it wasn't prior. Regardless of the investigation or not, you already released it. Like, it's already out there. It's on our screen right now. This is all the stuff that I have from the last drop. I think it is bad. Ed, it's not a bunch of nothing. You must have just got here. It's a bunch of nothing, and like maybe in the documents, but this is telling us we might have bigger questions of the current administration and what they're doing. We just went over multiple documents that are heavily redacted when they were released prior and not redacted. And this is one of the pages, to be exact. If you just got here, that is the old page. This is what was released today. And so it is interesting. There's something wrong with that. For the citizens, it is. Okay. The fact that they didn't use redaction tracking numbers makes it even worse. 100%, Terry. You're on it. Like we don't have redaction codes. So there's no indication on why these are redacted, if there's an investigation or anything like that, which makes me think that this is very suspicious and done intentionally. And it is not the way that we expect this administration to be as transparent. And the way everything went today was not anything transparent at all. If this administration is as transparent, and all of you MAGA people that follow me, like, yes, I voted for Donald Trump. I do call it out when the administration is doing something that I don't agree with, and this is one of them. I got a lot of question marks on how this was handled today. Why didn't you come out and say, we are going to release it to some influencers first, and then we're going to release it later? Pam Bondi just disappeared and didn't acknowledge anything. It was a complete disaster. Using J6 as a measuring stick, if they wanted to investigate and prosecute people, they would have done it by now. I agree with you. And we know what the government doesn't want to do. Like, let's be honest. The government is not going to lock up any politicians. I know we all want it, but the government, when is the last time we have actually really done that with any of these corrupt politicians that are doing the really bad stuff, not just a few of them that are the low-hanging fruit. I'll wait because it's been a long time. Long time. But we capture, we lock up, we put them in cuffs, and we put them in prison when it's their scapegoats. When it's Bernie Madoff trying to get them all of their money, or Sam Bankman-Fried. All of those people, those are scapegoats for these people, for the politicians and the leaders of these not leaders. I'm not going to use leaders. What term do I want to use? These parasites. We're just going to call them parasites because they're useless. They're not doing anything for us. And the drop today with the release today, and it is a whole bunch of stuff that we already have seen, but even more redacted than it was a year ago, should make you question this administration and what they're doing. And to be fair, when it comes to the questions, it's all got to be directed to Pam Bondi. Why are you redacting everything? Why? You're not even using redaction codes. You're just releasing it and saying it's redacted. When I just showed you guys, hey, we already have these documents. They're not redacted like the way these ones are. Let's look at the comments, guys. Let's see what you guys got. I've been questioning a lot. Absolutely. Scientific, you're funny. You are funny. Maybe you should work with the DOJ. Scientific, you need to work with the DOJ. I'm glad you guys agree. Not that we all have to agree here, but there's some questions that we need answers. And some of this stuff is not mathing for me. But we're going to wrap this up here for tonight. We've been going on for an hour. We have uncovered some interesting stuff. We are more redacted than we were a year ago. A lot of these files are similar files to what was released a year ago. I will be doing another live maybe tomorrow. Well, no, not tomorrow. We got the game show tomorrow. But I'll do another live probably this weekend of some comparing more of the documents that I have from back at the last drop to what we have here. And we could start piecing together some names. I'm already working on an AI persona that will go through and compare the documents and be able to spit out some results for me so I don't have to do all of this manually. Because it takes a long time. It takes a long time to go through all of this manually. But let's touch on, you guys got any questions? Any questions about what happened today? Anything else that you guys, because I'm a little scattered because I started an hour late because of work. And so if there's something that you guys thought of earlier today that you wanted answers on, throw them out in the comments real quick and we'll touch on them. Let me look at that. Do not know. I do not and have not seen or heard anything about Bondi that says trust. I agree with that. Haba and Bongino have already questioned her motives. Yeah. I question Pam Bondi. My red flags. Get it? My red flag for Pam Bondi is when she really was trying to sell Donald Trump back in 2018 on red flag laws for 2A. I don't agree with that. I don't, and most of you guys know this already. No, red flag laws? Absolutely not. That is a gateway for the government to be able to take away my guns. Absolutely not. What bothers me is she acted on Fox last night as if we would be outraged once we saw the files today. It makes zero sense. Welcome to the government. I know I'm being super libertarian on you guys right now, but welcome to the government. This is what they do. And the part that we need to be doing more is our voices and saying, this is a topic actually I wanted to talk about actually at the beginning of the show. I made a post on X earlier. Let me pull it up for you guys and then we'll talk about this and wrap the show up. When I made this post earlier, I did it for a reason because I see everybody saying, oh, it's just all going to be redacted. What's the point? And some of you were in my comments and I wasn't dealing with any of the garbage. I was not. Today was really FAFO day for me because I didn't want to put up with bullshit. Bear with me. Where is my post? And I'm only trying to find it so I can actually read it to you guys. Okay, here we go. Sharing it on the screen. So when we post on social media, I pose this with you. I think the government is watching what we do on social media to see how we would respond. And then they will give us exactly what we say we are expecting the government to do. Everybody was saying everything is going to be redacted on social media today. Were they wrong? Not necessarily. But as we exposed tonight on this live, the documents were not redacted before, some of them. But when you're going onto social media, as I state here, and you tell everybody they're going to be redacted, you don't think the government is seeing that and being like, fine, we'll redact everything. And we'll deliver you the playbook of redaction. Is that what happened in this scenario? We don't have redaction codes. So they're not really redacted the way they would be in a court case or an investigation, because they come with the redaction codes that you can Google and know why it was hidden on that document. Because also redactions, some of them can expire, like to where the whole thing, and then they can be released later. Are we calling on social media when we criticize like this? Are we calling on social media for the government to actually give us a redacted document when everybody is saying it's all going to be redacted? Or if we actually changed our message on the internet and was saying we demand transparency and we demand these files to be released unredacted, do you think that we would get a document possibly that is not as heavily redacted? I would think it's a possibility. We should really do that. Freaking hell. We can't take you anywhere, scientific. We can't take you anywhere. We can't take you anywhere. But that's my point, guys, is we have to be demanding what we want from the government, not calling it out what we know they're going to do and be like, yay, I was right. We need to be calling it out what we expect, and maybe we'll get the information that we want. But when everybody is going online and practically redacted was trending today, you got what you asked for. You got what you asked for. And I 100% see your comment, J-Ribs. Let me see if I can find it here. 100%. We are demanding the real files. And that's what we should be doing. We should be doing that. We should be demanding more from our government. We should be vocal about it. Just like the stupid lady that was in my comments last night saying, oh, posting on social media is not getting involved or communicating with your congressman. You got to call them. Bitch, when it comes down to talking with congressmen, I've spoke with more of them and interacted with more of them via X than I did on the phone. Now, locally, I know most of my representative's cell phone number. I can send them a text and I usually get a reply. So I don't go on social media much to talk to them. But if we're talking about Congress, I'm going on X because I can get Mike Lee to respond to me on some of his posts. So I'm going there. But when you have people in your comments saying stupid BS like that, all of a sudden your effort just goes way up and you're just like, get the hell out of my comments. That's where some of my attitude has been coming lately, as dealing with some people on X is just crazy. Seems business as usual at the DOJ. Exactly. And with that, what do we do? Do we call for Pam Bondi to resign? I am in that corner right now. I think Pam Bondi has done a horrible job at getting this going and doing right by the people on what was promised. And I am blaming her. Donald Trump did his part. He signed an executive order. I don't like executive orders, but right now they seem to be doing the good things. So I'm kind of trying to shut my mouth on that. But when it comes to the executive orders, that's the highest law in the land to say, go get it done and do it now. Unless it's specified in the executive order, like it is, it says 15 days to present a plan for the JFK files, which we still haven't got. We got the Epstein files before we got the JFK files. Weird. We're still waiting on the RFK file plan, MLK file plan. We don't even have those yet. And now I'm losing confidence that we're even going to get anything of value there because of everything that was redacted today when it wasn't even redacted a year ago. So they're not really doing much. This is no different than Mike Johnson saying he's going to release the J6 tapes from the White House. He released one little grouping and then never came back to the topic. Chris. Oh, dude. Today I was not dealing with people the last couple days. I was not putting up with BS. It's not. My work has been causing a lot of frustration in my life. And so, unfortunately, bullshit on X gets the repercussions of that. But we'll wrap it up here, guys. I'm not going to say this is a complete loss like everybody is going to say, because I think we just exposed the system that we're redacting things that weren't redacted a year ago. And we need to start calling out to Pam Bondi and them why. We need to demand answers on why that is. We need to ensure we are holding them accountable to what they said they would do. Now, I'm fine, like the masseuses, I'm fine with them being redacted because most of them, they've already gone through enough dealing with this bullshit that I don't need to add to that. So redact those. That's good. I'm good with that. But why in the hell are we redacting everything else? Now you're making me question some of those other redactions in those flight logs, which that's what I'm going to be going over. I'm going to go through all of my flight logs that I have from the last drop and see if I can align up the pages and find out which ones were redacted. And then guess what? We have new names that are redacted now, but weren't redacted a year ago. And why is that? And we're going to go down those rabbit holes. And we're going to do this live. We're going to do those ones live. I didn't want to go over 224 pages with you guys. Everybody would be falling asleep. We don't need to do that because you join spaces with Free and Scientific and me and Terry, Zach. Half of us fall asleep on spaces in the middle of the night. So that's just what happens. And I didn't want us to do that live. But yeah, man, I think this is not a win, but it's some information that we need to be going back to this administration and saying you are not delivering on your promise. Why? On this Laura Loomer topic, to touch on this, I am happy that Laura Loomer is wasn't invited to the White House. I made a post about that earlier. If you guys didn't see it, makes me happy that Laura Loomer didn't get picked because everybody says Laura Loomer is the best friend of Donald Trump. Best friend of Donald Trump. I don't think so. I never believed that one bit. I thought she was always around, but I didn't see her as that close with the administration. Not at all. And I think today proved that to me. On a better note, I got a new shirt and waiting on one more. Good. Thank you, Rose, for the support and triggering me to talk about Awake Not Woke store. And guys, if you guys want new shirts, I'm wearing my Cyberbully Politician shirt. You can get that at awakenotwokestore.com. You can use Awake for 20% off. Go check that out. Go buy a shirt, support the channel, support me, Cash. Russo doesn't get on with us anymore. He's a jerk. But yeah, all of that comes to us and helps us keep going. X is not paying us as much anymore, so we got to go to our merchandise. So go check that out, awakenotwokestore.com. Use Awake for 20% off and rock some good merch. Thank you, Terry. I see that right here. But David had I saw that earlier, Chris. I thought it was a joke. David had a 7-hour space today. I saw that and I thought it was a joke until I actually looked at the type of everything. Holy crap. I'm good. You won't catch me doing a live. That's what Cash did. You guys, for those that have been around forever, do you guys remember when Cash would do 8-hour shows in the middle of the night? We would go from 10, start at 9 or 10 o'clock at night and go until 6 o'clock in the morning. How did we do that? That was crazy 4 years ago. Crazy. But on this note, guys, we're going to end it here. I know I've said we're going to wrap this up, but we're going to finally do that. Thank you for tuning in. Sorry I was late. We will be doing a round 2 and doing some more comparisons to the original documents that were dropped last year. I will keep you guys updated. Be on the lookout for when we schedule that. On X, I'll make the posts. On all the other platforms, you'll see it scheduled. You'll see it showing up. But have a great night, and we will talk to you guys later.